Welcome to Wisdom on the Front Porch. Subscribe, ring the bell, like, and share the wisdom. Pull up a chair and join us with today's guest.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Excellent. Well, welcome to this episode of Wisdom on the Front Porch. And Leslie, I'm so glad you're here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're really passionate about.
I am Lesle Lane. I am a third generation photographer here in the lovely heartland of Indianapolis, Indiana. We do have a nationwide reach in what we do, but I think the special part is just the legacy of what my family has left for me to take over and to pass on to another generation. So even though I do not have children that will be taking over my business, I am passionate about helping young photographers learn, especially about the business side of photography. It is often what creative people fail to really spend time on. And so I love mentorship and I love helping young people.
That's awesome. And it's true, that I know a lot of people who are just excellent photographers, but they don't want to get into the business side of it. So their pictures sit with them, even though they're amazing and they should be out in galleries and other places. So I definitely want to hear more about this. But you said that it's a family business, so maybe
It
tell
is.
a
So,
little more about
yeah,
that.
we do corporate and advertising photography. Myself and my stepfather did. And we go out and we help businesses with their brand imagery. So, how do they get their message not only out to their clients, but maybe their stockholders, or maybe they're looking to recruit new employees? And we use photography and videography to help them achieve those goals.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that sounds really interesting, and it's got to be very different because every business is different. So what is, I don't know if we want to say a typical day, but yeah, how do you get going with something like this?
It is very difficult to get started. And I'll tell you, having a family that did it was the difference between diving off the side of the pool and diving off of a platform. And so I am super grateful that my grandparents were portrait wedding photographers, and then my mom and my stepdad were the corporate photographers. We even have National Geographic photographers in our family, AP photographers in our family. And so it's really just, it's in our DNA. But now in this day and age, getting started in this business, especially for a woman, could be extremely challenging because you have to have obviously the right equipment, but you have to know the right people and you have to understand where you want to grow your business. And kind of like seeding a field, you don't want to throw different kinds of seed in your field. You want to make sure that the seed you plant down is pure and it gives you the crop you're looking for.
Yeah, that's very true. It's interesting you said, especially for a woman. Why do you think that is?
Well, in America, particularly, the gender roles are still pretty set in stone. Even though women are out doing more and bringing in more income than ever, a lot of times they're still expected to do the domestic duties as well, be the primary caregiver for children and parents as the parents age. And so this job being in corporate America, it's an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday job. And I feel like that because of the responsibilities that a woman has in the home, that makes it more difficult for them to get into the commercial photography world.
Right. Okay, I understand that. So what is the difference between commercial photography and non-commercial?
Sure, portrait and wedding photographers will normally work weekends and nights because they're doing family portraits and baby portraits, maybe weddings,
Mhm.
different types of personal events like family reunions. And those are normally done on nights and weekends. Where corporate photography, I'm going out and I'm photographing maybe an industrial manufacturing process, or I'm doing exteriors and interiors of a new building, corporate headshots, product photography, things that you have to go into the organization to capture so that then they can turn around and either sell the product that we're photographing or sell the process that we're capturing. It's just a very different world and requires a very different skill set than if you're just going to use the available light that you have outside and capture a family.
Yeah, now that I understand. I've been taking pictures since I was knee-high to grasshopper, put it that way. And yeah, my first one, I took a picture of a rabbit outside my window, and all you see is grass. So it's like it's been a process. Um, yeah, so I agree. I agree. Corporate doing something like that would definitely be a very different skill set than any of your other type of photography. Just like landscape is different than photographing children or pets or anything like that. Um, so you got into it as a family. Now, I know we're all talking about entrepreneurs, but somebody had to start this from the very beginning. What was that like for them? Do you have any idea?
Oh, sure. So my grandfather and my grandmother actually started working for the original Olin Mills. And so they actually got their training doing portraits through a corporation. And then they decided that that really wasn't for them. And so they went to Columbus, Georgia, and they started a studio in the downtown area. Once that became successful, then they moved out of the retail space they were in and built a home that they put the business in their home and moved it from there. So that was the first step for them. They went out with no backing at all. They just started it all on their own. My stepfather, however, he bought the commercial part of this business from a previous photographer. So he
Okay.
got his through acquisition, buying a building and a client list and a business from a person that had already been in it. So two really different routes to entrepreneurship, one through just starting up from nothing and one through acquisition. And then I, of course, just took over generationally, but it is a very different business today than it was back when my mom and my stepfather ran it.
Oh, wow. So how is it different? I know that the world has changed so much, but you would think photography is photography. Obviously, that's not true.
No, it really isn't. My parents had an 8,000 square foot studio with 11 employees at one point. They also did in-house processing and printing. So they had revenue streams coming from three different photographers as well as the lab income. So just a great, so many businesses have so many revenue streams. And then you come into my era where I took it over with all of this overhead and the need for that overhead began to shrink with the change from film to digital. The
Right.
revenue streams started to shrink. So now we didn't have the markup cost of film, the markup cost of processing and printing. Now we just have a digital image, which is invisible. There's nothing tangible anymore. And so you take that, and then I started to shrink the business because the profit margins were smaller. And I got rid of more and more employees, which meant I had less and less ways to make money. And
Right.
so all of a sudden, you throw in there the events of 9/11. You've got the Great Recession, you've got COVID, and then you've got the industry changing between film and digital. And you can say it's been a roller coaster of a ride to get where I am today, which is a little bit different business model. So I don't have any W-2 employees anymore, but I do have a team of about 9 1099 contractors that I will take and send off to different projects that either are not in my skill set or something that I've chosen not to pursue any longer. And then I also have 1099 administrators, social media people, and salespeople, so that as my time gets more and more bogged down being a producer in the business, I still have people out there taking care of running the business if I'm not able to.
Okay. And for those who maybe don't understand what 1099 is, can you just give us a brief explanation?
Absolutely. In America, a W-2 employee has certain things that they're required. They're required matching insurance, they're required matching taxes, workers' compensation insurance, all the things that our country does to protect the workers, which I really appreciate. But
Mm.
also, that means that as I'm planning for my retirement, I have to offer my employees that are a W-2 employee all those same benefits that I offer myself. So if I keep them as a contractor, which is a 1099 employee where they come in for a specific job or for a specific duration, I don't have to invest in any of those benefits with a contract employee that I would if they were a W-2 employee.
All right. That makes a lot of sense too. And I know there are a lot of people who are doing that. I mean, that's where a lot of entrepreneurs are bringing in another stream of income. They're actually doing contract work for somebody else. Um, and it's really a great system because you've got using you in this instance, you have the connections, you have the jobs that are there, and they get to do the work while you do other things, and it just is a nice. I like the way it just all works together. It's just wonderful, and to put it in simple terms for those who know about bees, you have bees who go out and pollinate the flowers, who bring the nectar in and bring it back to the hive. Well, you have other bees in the hive that are workers that are cleaning everything up. You have those that are taking care of the queen and all of this. So everybody has their own job, but um, it's not like one person is responsible to take care of everybody and go do everything. You all work together in it. So, and that's pretty nice. I guess there's other examples too, but I like that one.
No, that's a great example.
Like,
And for young entrepreneurs out there, the idea of having W-2 employees is a heavy weight. It's a heavy
yes,
burden that when you're slow and there's not enough work to go around, you're still paying that salary. And it can just be a press on your shoulders as an entrepreneur, where this allows me to use contractors only when I need them and not have to worry about making payroll each week.
right. And it's like me with writing my books. I don't do my own illustrations. I hire somebody to do the illustrations, and it'll be different depending on the book that I'm doing. Same if you're hiring a publisher, to help you get your book done, or someone just to help you upload it, all those different things. You hire editors, and even though we all work with each other, and yes, I do pay them for their skill, they are not my employee. So that saves me a whole lot of overhead, and it just really helps things flow together. And it's great when you've got people you can count on. And it's like, okay, I know that if I want the best editor for my children's book, I go to this person. But if I have a young adult novel, then I definitely need to go to this other person. And it makes it great. They get to find out what the new stories are before anybody else does. But I also get things done that maybe are not in my skill set, or I don't have time for because I've got other things to take care of. I've got to get the cover, I've got to get all this other stuff done. So it's really great to do something like that. Was it a really tough decision to say, look, I just can't have employees anymore and I need to get rid of them? I know some people have a really hard time with that. How do you go about doing all of that, I guess, for lack of words to say.
Well, it was terribly difficult. And for me, I wish I could say that I was strong enough to do it on my own, because many years I suffered. Many years I kept money from myself to take care of my W-2 employee, to my detriment. I just think
Oh,
if you're a caring person, cutting someone off from their income is incredibly difficult.
oh yeah.
In my circumstances, I lost my W-2 employee. They passed away unexpectedly, and
Oh,
it just turned the business completely upside down. So I wish I could say I did it in the strong, methodical way, but necessity was the mother of invention for me. And my children actually came alongside me after the passing of my longtime assistant, and they said, "Okay, moving forward, you can't do it this way again. We've watched you
right.
work your butt off. We've watched you be stressed out." And they came alongside me and really became a counselor. It's lovely that I have children that are so smart. And they said, let's work together to come up with a different business plan. And so that's how I did it.
Yeah. Now, earlier you said you didn't have children to pass this on to, but you're saying you have
Don't.
children now. So I know someone's going to catch that. I've got real smart audience here.
Yeah.
So kind of explain that to us, would
Yeah.
you?
So I have children who love and adore me. I do not have any children that want to take over the business.
There you
So
go.
I did have one daughter that worked with me for 2 years
Oh, nice.
to get standard operating procedures together and to get the business set up to scale so that we could grow the business. But she gave me a 2-year contract, and to the day she quit, 2 years to the day. Um, and she found somebody to replace her, and she won't even get emails from her studio email address anymore. I mean, she's done.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. I give you this time. But you have to, for your own preservation, when you're going after what you want to do, you have to set those hard boundaries. And sometimes it's hard. And I really appreciate you talking about how difficult it was for you to go through the process to tell people, I can't pay you anymore for you to have a job. Because, like you said, you care about these people, and it's really tough. Um, and I know there's sometimes when we have people that are working for us, helping us out, that are not doing their job. And that's really difficult because you've built a relationship with them, whether it's strong or not, you still have to say, you failed me and I can't have you anymore. There's nice ways to go about saying it, but that's basically what's going on. And when you run a business, you have to have a very different mindset. It's like, this is a business, what's working for the business, what's not. If you've got someone who's not doing their job, you say, look, this is a business, this is what you were required to do. What is stopping you from doing your job? Because maybe there's something there, maybe they didn't understand or something. So talk about it first, and maybe they need to be in a different position in the company. As whether it's contractor or whatever, it's like maybe they're actually better at something else and nobody's ever bothered to find that out. So there's ways to do that. But yeah, I haven't gotten to the point that I want employees, but I don't think I want employees. I definitely would rather have contractors and that kind of thing, because that, as you said, that is a heavy burden to be carrying. And and if you're building up your business and you're giving it all to your employees, then you're not getting anything out of it. So those are things to consider too.
Well, and I'd like to tell the entrepreneurs that listen to this, there's nothing more life-sucking than not making money when you're working really hard.
Absolutely.
It really, it burns you out faster than anything else to be broke and tired.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Um,
that you're putting in all that work and effort, and why am I not seeing any income to support myself? That's when I was first starting out, my big thing was I want to support myself, because if my husband gets hurt at work, if he gets hurt at home or whatever, and he can't go to work, what can I do to support us? And when I didn't get that first 6 months, which is way too soon, too much pressure to put on myself, I was just devastated. And it's like, and my husband was very supportful for me at that point. He said, look, you just got started. You don't even know how to run a business, which I didn't. That's what I was learning. He says, give yourself time. But it's devastating. You're putting in 80 hours, sometimes 120 hours a week, trying to get all of this stuff done. And when you're not getting anything back for it, it's like, why am I even doing this then? And it's okay to take a pause. It's okay to step back. I'm sure you've had to do that, to step back and look at what's really going on. How do I handle this, especially with all the stuff going on in the world, with COVID, even the people growing up, I'll put it that way, kids that are in their 20s and 30s, their attitude towards life is very different than what you and I would have had, even me, much older, and our growing up. And so the way they look at the world, the way they handle situations is very different. How do we negotiate that and help them to feel safe and know that they're okay, that their normal is normal, to not be afraid of everything. So that's a whole nother conversation though. But your kids, how are they doing? What are, if you don't mind, what are they doing in their lives? Are they entrepreneurs? Do they work for others?
They are not. So my oldest daughter is a stay-at-home mom. I have two
Nice.
grandchildren with a third on the way. And then my youngest is an administrative assistant with the Arts Council here in Indiana. And they both seem, my ex-husband, their father was a doctor, is a doctor. And then you've got my creative side. And they both really seem to be a great meld of both of those things. Incredibly intelligent, but with an artistic side. So no, they've not done anything to follow in my footsteps. And I don't know, after everything I've been through, I'm not sure I would really want them to go through it. I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, and it's tough. And I don't want to scare new entrepreneurs for not
No.
taking the choice, because every life is different, every choice is different. But there are some really tough times out there and some tough choices, and you need that support. I love that your children came around you and said, "Look, Mom, this is the reality of it," because you need those people who are going to be there to help you through every situation. So that's wonderful. So you've gone through all of this and you're here today. What do you really love about getting up in the morning and saying, "Hey, this is my job"?
You know, running a business that now has so many facets to it, no day is like any other day. And
Nice.
so that's the first thing. Also, by having these independent contractors that can help me do some of the things that they need to be done, but they don't really require me, like keeping a blog current on the website, getting the quotes out to the clients, scheduling the jobs, assigning the photographer to the right job. Those are all things that my administrator and my social media person take care of. Now I get to focus on strategy. Now I get to focus on, okay, where do I want to go to get new clients? How do I want to change the client base we currently have? And where do I really want to grow? The other thing is that obviously AI is a huge factor that's out right now. I can
Right.
spend some time pondering and researching what AI is doing, not only to my field, but to business in general. And one of the things that I found out recently that is just fascinating to me is that AI is now reading every website out there
Mhm.
and determining how much of the website is authentic. So
That's
are
something.
yes. So are your blogs written by a real person? Or are they written by Chat GPT? Are your photographs stock photography or are they custom photography? Is your video content a canned stock video? All these things. So AI is telling you if you're using AI. Isn't that fascinating? And so they're actually lowering the search engine's ability to find you if they're finding that your website is not authentic. Well, that makes a really big deal in my business. That's a huge deal for my clients. And so I would have never really had time to research that and to know the trends that are coming in my industry if I was so bogged down with producing every job that came through the door.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a really good point. Um, I'm really struggling with AI right now. I use AI a lot, but I was just in a 3-day webinar mastermind, whichever you want to call it, that was talking about using yourself as a cloning with AI and going through all of that. And it's interesting that the first day of the webinar, I actually watched this movie. It's The New Running Man, and it's showing how AI took his video and had him say things that weren't true. It's showing the dark side of AI and what people could do with it. And so it really is a struggle. It's like, because I love to be in the videos. I don't mind any of this being totally me, but I also know that I only have 24 hours in one day. So what can I do? And and one thing I've noticed too is that a lot of things are repeat of what somebody else said. So as you're saying, is AI going to see that and say, "Oh, this is just a repeat of what this person said"? So are they going to flag that as not authentic, but as AI? So, I need to keep me authentic, but that doesn't mean I can't use AI to help me with some things. I don't let AI write my books. These are my books and my stories. I don't let them do the whole cover for me. We might, go in and use tools to produce a
Mhm.
cover. I might go in and use AI to help me do the blurb on the back of the book or something like that. But I don't let it do everything for me. And I think that's kind of the line, the tightrope, whatever you want to call it, that some people are really wondering about right now is where do you let it take over and where do you draw the line and say, I want to be me, a human being talking to other human beings. I know we have AI that will answer our phones, that will answer questions. They've studied everything about you so well, you've given them so much information that they can answer like you would. But at some point, when that person all of a sudden realizes, I'm not talking to LS, I'm talking to an AI version of LS. And then they get upset because they want to talk to me. They don't want to talk to this. Or the ones that don't really care. They just want to keep getting their questions answered. So I know there's a lot of push against that, push and pull, what's right and what's not. Um, so maybe give me your opinion on that.
AI is an amazing tool. So I use it in my editing process. I serve on several boards where we'll use it to summarize the board minutes. There's a lot of places. Certainly, I've got a 12-part video series that's coming out about imagery and branding, and we used AI to create those topics for us. What are the topics that people are looking for so that we could then have the authentic discussion regarding those topics? So I think that if you're not using AI in some capacity, you're already falling behind. So
That's
I think AI is a friend, not a foe, in my opinion, but it has to be used well because, like you're talking about, if you let your client find out they're not talking to the real you, one person won't care, the other person will feel like somehow they can't trust you anymore.
right.
And so making sure that your clients feel the authenticness of your brand is way more important than the easiness of having AI do it for you.
Yeah.
So it is a tool, it is a wonderful tool. It has made my life a lot easier, but it has to be used responsibly or you're going to lose the clients that know, like, and trust you. You've
Yes,
built those
absolutely.
relationships and you've worked to build those relationships, and you don't want anything coming in the way of that authentic transparency you have with your customers.
Yeah, I really love that you said that. And you keep saying it's a tool. And I think we need to remember that. I use AI all the time for research because if I was to go out there and do it, it would take me days, even months, to get the information I can get in a couple of hours. So you need tools, one, to save you time because time you can't ever replace, but two, you want to get to the right places. And I know that there's a skill set in asking the right questions to AI. Um, but that just comes with practice and take a little webinar here and there and find out, what do you say to AI? How do you ask it the right questions? Um, and in fact, just this morning I was using AI to help me get the right wording. I had something, I really liked it, but it just seemed like there was something that was not connecting right with my audience. So I went in there, I said, this is what I've got, this is what it's for, but I'm missing something in here. I want to really connect with my audience. And so, it came up with two or three suggestions. And then I like, oh, I like this, I like that, but I don't like this specific phrase. And once we got it working together, it's like, oh, this is lovely. I really like this. And I was able to use that. And there it was a tool,
Mhm.
I can't hire people to do these things for me. Not yet. But I don't think I want to. I really like the idea of contracting, of helping people get their business going by using them to help me get my business going. I mean, we're helping each other. Like the podcast right now, this is not your podcast. I don't really consider it mine. I believe it's my audience's podcast because I'm giving them the information they're looking for. But we couldn't do this if it was all one-sided. We're working together. we're helping each other, we're supporting each other. And so throughout the year, I'll give little clips of this podcast throughout the whole year. So it still supports you through the year. And I think it's so important that we do that. Looking at businesses as competition, I think it's a thing of the past, and I don't mind a little competitive edge. I'm very competitive. It's like, give me a challenge. You got it. I'm going after somebody else is doing what I'm doing. Well, let's see what we can either do together to increase both of us, or what's an edge I can get to get a little bit further ahead, just like they're doing. And so I think we stop looking at competition, what someone else is doing, as I have to knock them out of the park, instead of maybe we can help each other and then we both grow. I mean, with what, over 8 billion people in the world, I think we can share a few audiences.
Of course, and podcasting is a little bit like photography from that it's highly competitive. There's a lot of people doing it, but podcasting and photography is unique to the person.
Yes.
It's like a thumbprint. And so I can even go out and I can bid the same job as another commercial photographer, and they're going to approach it completely different than I would. And when I was young, I used to get so upset because I lost that job. I lost that job. And now it's just like, well, I'm going to get the next one. And understanding that when somebody hires a photographer, there is a contractual relationship of, yes, we have goods that we have to deliver, but there's the personality. And I think podcasting is very much the same. Your audience is attracted to your personality, just like my customers are attracted to my personality and my problem solving skills. So there's plenty of business to go around, and no need to knock anybody down who's your competition. Just approach your business, whatever that is, in a method that gains your audience or your clientele.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm still just fascinated that you do commercial photography, um, because to me that takes a very special skill set to be able to really show this company in the best light. Because a lot of us go into a company, we don't know what the company is all about. We don't know what's important to them. We don't know, what will really make them shine to people. What are people looking for this company? And I know sometimes the company doesn't really understand that. That's why they hire, yourself or a company like yours to come in and say, look, this is our company. This is what we do. These are the things that we understand that people are looking for. And I think that's key right there. You can take all the pictures you want. I could have a podcast on anything I want, but if there's not an audience that is looking for it, it's just going to sit there and do nothing. So my question to you is, how do you know what the people are wanting from a company? How do you know how to reach the people that say, wow, maybe I didn't know I needed this, but I really do need this, or I've been looking for this, glad to finally see it.
Well, luckily for me, I'm working with a company that's probably already taken part in a strategic marketing plan.
Oh,
So they've
good.
already hired a company to do the research of what their
Mhm.
customers want, to do the research of
Excellent.
what their employees want. And so my job is to be part of the implementation process. And
Oh,
so I don't have to be the one to decide all those very big, very heavy questions. I get to take it from the other side of what can we do to capture that essence in either photography or videography for the company. It's a very different world of, my mom's a fine art photographer, still is to this day. She
okay.
gets to take pictures of whatever floats her boat, and it's all about her creative eye. Where for me, it's all about how do we achieve the measurable goals that the organization is looking for, whether that's to drive visits to their website, to drive social media posts, to drive sales, to engage new talent. What are those measurable goals, and how do I come alongside them to help them achieve those measurable goals?
That's awesome. I love that. And I love what you said is they've hired somebody to do the research already to look for that. And we as entrepreneurs need to know that whether we use AI or we find somebody who can help us do the research, because sometimes that's really tough. We're busy thinking about, well, this is what I've got, this is what I have to offer, but yet we don't look at it from the customer's point of view, or client, however you want to say it, is what is it that they are really looking for? For me, what do entrepreneurs really want? What do they need to know to get their business started, to stay in business during those really tough times, to level up to the 7, the 8, the 10 figures that they want to get to? How can I provide what they actually need and what they are looking for? And how can I show them that maybe you're not looking for this, but think about this a little bit. Maybe this is something that's going to help you, and you didn't even realize that that's what you were really looking for. Um, so yeah, that's great. Doing that research is so, so important.
Well, and
Um,
people will hear this, they'll hear this and they'll think, well, that's for a big company. No, it's really not. So the first that people they don't look at their marketing like a plan. They look at it like putting out fires. I need a new website. And so they create a new
mm,
website.
yeah.
But what I did, even as a small company that I am, the first thing I did before I created my new website was to send out a poll to all of my customers, asking them what they needed, asking them, where do you find your photographers? Do you giving them options of social media, Google, what kind of social media, all those things. Do you have a
Yeah.
need for us to be archiving all of your files on the website? What services do you need that we're not currently offering? And then we took all that data from them and created the website with them in mind. And so I beg entrepreneurs, no matter how big or small you are, stop living in a silo of what you think about your own business and ask the people that are buying your services. They'll willingly give you this information so that you can create the tactics you need to accomplish your goals. And that was one of the best things I've ever done for myself, because my website now gets far more traffic, 3 to 4 times as much traffic as it
Mhm.
got, because of the data that my existing clients gave me.
I love that. That's so true. And for those that are just getting started, that maybe don't have clients yet, or only one or two, you have social media, put polls out there, ask questions, say, and maybe you've got a couple of ideas, ask people what they think about them. What are you getting back on reactions? Is anybody saying anything? Is it silent? And if you're not getting the information you need or the reactions you need, then you need to go look for somebody who can help you through this process. And there are plenty of people who do that. Get a hold of me. I've got some connections if you'd like to know who can help you with that. But it's very true. When I did my website, it's like I just did whatever. It still kind of shows that way. But as I've listened to people along the way, it's like, I looked at your website and can't really do anything. Or I looked at it, it's like, what do you do? I see your name up there, I see your books, I see this and I see that, but it's like, it's just stuff. What do you really do? I'm creating a campaign right now for my book Baxter's Heart, about the loss of a pet in the home and how children deal with loss, how the other pets in the home deal with loss. And so on my site, I had lots of great things, but it's like, well, how about we adjust this or we adjust that? Or these are great pictures, but you're kind of distracting from what the book is really about, because it's a serious book. So I have other books. Let's just stick with Baxter's Heart right now. Then we can add these others as it comes in. And I tell you what, over the course of, I think it's been 4 months now, my website for Baxter's Heart is looking really good. And for those who want to check it out, and I value your opinion, it's lskirkpatrick.com/Baxter. And you can see what's on there. And it's absolutely different from the other pages on my website. But it's been tough, because things that I really wanted on there, I realized, yeah, maybe I want them, but they're not what other people are going to want. And they're nice to know about that, but they're distracting from what you're really trying to do here. And I still may have a few tweaks to do, in the next month or so. But I agree with you. You have to find out what other people are looking at, how they're thinking, what and for some business owners, I know that's hard to think like the client, the customer, the viewer, the reader. What is it that they are really after? And I appreciate what you said about all of that. That's just so important. Um, and I know we're getting close to time. Uh, so, so what else do you have for our audience about running your own business and all the changes that you've gone through?
Yeah, just a little nugget for your entrepreneurs as we're coming close to the end of our time. If you do not have a mentor in your field, someone that is experienced, I highly recommend. Most people will mentor you just out of the goodness of their heart. You do not need to invest in that. And especially if you're just getting off the ground and you don't have customers you can rely on. Find a mentor, somebody that can help
Mhm.
you. I've got several in the field and out of the field, people that
Oh,
have been in
wow.
people that have been in business longer than I have that help me with business things, and then people that are in the field. Also connect with people doing what you do. Don't don't spend all your time behind the computer.
Yep.
Meet with people one on one, build those relationships because that's where it's going to grow. My last nugget is also it takes about 12 to 18 months after starting a new strategy to see it pay off. And I think that sometimes entrepreneurs, like you said about yourself, 6 months into it, you were so discouraged because you weren't seeing the results you want. Everything that I've seen in my industry, it's 12 to 18 months
Right.
after I implement something new. My salesperson is about 12 months into her position, and she's starting to see those sales now starting to come through.
Good.
The website did not start paying for itself for about 12 to 18 months after I implemented the new website. So patience is not always a virtue. As an entrepreneur, you want it now, and you're working hard, and dang it, I want it now. But do cut yourself some slack and keep working and planting the seeds while you're waiting for the seeds you planted 12 months ago to grow.
Yes, absolutely. And one of my mentors told me is sometimes it's going to take 1 or 2 years for you just to talk with somebody, to get to know them, for them to get to know you, because time does go fast sometimes. We'll be, 4 months down the road. It's like, oh man, I haven't even talked to this person again. And I really wanted to establish a relationship with them, to get to know them. I like what they're doing. And so just keep on working on it. Don't give up. I really appreciate you saying that. So here's the big question. How do people find you? How do they get in contact with you?
Yes, it is studio13online.com. That's our website. We are also on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Me personally, LinkedIn is where you can find me.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm going to ask you, I know you gave us these great gold nuggets, but do you have any other closing thoughts for our audience?
Just to stay the course, that don't give up on yourself. You're gonna stumble. If I would have fallen completely down and not gotten up, I would have done that about 3 years into my career. And so just when you stumble, just stand back up, brush yourself off, own it, and try again.
I love that. It just made me think of when newspapers were plentiful. I had a little clip I cut out, stuck it on my board, and I was at the time I was a stay-at-home grandma. I wasn't working a career, but it was from Harrison Ford, and he said, if you would just stay on the bus until you get to the end. He said, so many people get off the bus too early. Go pursue this, go pursue that. If you just stay on the bus, you would get there. And I thought, yeah, what you're saying is so true. Don't give up. Don't say it's not working, so I'm going to try something else. Keep doing what you're doing. If you want to try something else, make sure it's not going to be a distraction, but give it a try. But I love that you said it's going to take time. We are so impatient right now. We want everything instant. And I love that you're so successful in your career because you stuck with it. You said, this is tough. I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to take another day. I'm going to take another step and go through it. Thank you so much, Leslie, for being here. And thank you, our audience, for being with us, for pulling up a chair and sitting on our front porch together. Leslie, thank you. It's been such an honor to have you on our show today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Have a wonderful afternoon.
All right. We'll see you all next time on Wisdom on the Front Porch.
Thank you, my Front Porch friends and neighbors, for pulling up a chair with me and my guest today on Wisdom on the Front Porch. Now, if you've got value from this conversation, would you do me a favor? Leave a quick review then share it with someone you know who could use some inspiration. It helps more friends find their seat on the porch. And hey, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss what's next. Until then, keep the porch light on for new wisdom every time you show up. Your seat's always here for you on the porch.